Samurai Jack, the legendary Cartoon Network series, first entered our lives on August 10th, 2001, with its premiere episode, The Premiere Movie. A total of 52 unforgettable episodes aired before the show said goodbye for a while. These 52 episodes brightened many of our Saturday morning. Yes, it often made us smile, but it also left a deep impact with its dark, epic, and emotional moment. Although Jack was searching for a way to travel back in time, his journey eventually turned into something much deeper, a journey within himself. Now, before we jump into the recap, smash that subscribe button like Jack swings his sword at Aku. Let's begin. The legend begins with a solar eclipse. Far away, in a barren wasteland, something that looks like a dead tree starts to react. From the ground, it rises, transforming into a tall, flaming-browed figure. And with a thunderous voice, he declares,
"Once again, I am free to smite the world as I did in days long past."
Elsewhere, in a peaceful Japanese kingdom, an emperor tells his son a tale. The tale of Aku, the shape-shifting demon that once rose from the pit of hate. When the emperor was young, Aku emerged to burn and destroy the land. The emperor was helpless until he remembered the legend of three monks, guardians of mystical power. He climbed to the mountaintop, to the sacred forge of the monk. There, they forged a sword, a blade blessed with the power to fight dark. With this sword, the emperor confronted Aku and sealed him within a petrified tree. Peace returned, people rebuilt, and for years, Aku remained unseen. But the emperor warned his son, evil always finds a way. Inspired by the tale, the young prince trains with a wooden sword. Then, a shadow looms over the city. Sirens howl. Aku has returned. The army fights valiantly. Arrows, spears, catapults, but nothing works. Aku absorbs every strike and blasts the city with laser beams from his eye. The emperor draws his sword and faces Aku, but he is captured. As Aku drags him away, the emperor yells to his wife, "He has returned! Follow the plan! Our future depends on it." The empress grabs the prince and escapes with the sacred sword. She brings him to a ship bearing the royal crest and hands him to the captain. She keeps the sword with her for now. Thus begins the prince's journey. He learns astronomy from a ship captain, horsemanship from an Arab sheikh, staff fighting from an African chief, hieroglyphs in Egypt, wrestling in Greece, archery from Robin Hood, sailing with Vikings, axe throwing with Russians, spear combat from Turkish warrior, and finally, kung fu at the Shaolin Temple. Years pass. Prince becomes a warrior. It's time to return, save his people. He finds them enslaved. Aku's dark minions rule the mind. The emperor, exhausted from labor, is attacked until the prince appeared. He defeats the minions with ease and breaks his father's chain. The chains, I believe, are a metaphor. The emperor warns Aku is using the minerals in these mines to conquer the world. The prince replies, "Then I'll defeat him with the sword." But the emperor speaks solemnly. The sword is strong, but Aku is stronger. It is not the blade, but the hands that wield it. The prince nods. "I won't let you down." He rides off, but the emperor still worried. Evil always finds a way. The prince arrives at Aku's tower. He shouts a challenge. Aku emerges. "Do you know who I am?" "I am the lost child of the land you ravaged," the prince replies. "I've come to take it back." Aku laughed. "No mortal can harm me." Prince strikes. His blade cuts through. Aku recoils in pain. A battle erupts. Aku transforms into a gorilla, a scorpion, an octopus, a goat. The prince fends off each form. "You can change shape, Aku, but you can't change truth." He forces Aku into a bird form and traps him inside the blade. Aku crashes to the ground, a defeated shadow. "You may have won this time, but next time, I will destroy you." Aku sneers. "There is no next time for you, Aku," the prince says, raising the sword. Suddenly, Aku screams. A portal opens beneath the prince. He falls into the void. He is hurled into the future, place where Aku rules, and evil is law. Aku laughs in the distance. "We shall meet again, samurai, and next time, I will be victorious." Let's stay true to the path and continue the journey with episode 2. These first 3 chapters don't just tell a story, they pull us deeper into the world Jack now faces. The prince, flung into the future by Aku's dark magic, bursts out of the portal, only to find himself plummeting through the skies of a strange, high-tech city. Flying cars zip past. He twists and turns and lands on top of one. But before he can steady himself, a strange weapon locks onto him. He reacts instantly, drawing his katana, slicing through the car's roof and landing safely on the ground below. there's no time to rest. A towering garbage compactor barrels toward him. With swift reflexes, he rolls beneath it, escaping through a maintenance tunnel where 3 young aliens watch in awe. Eyes wide, they begin whispering the same word, Jack. Still disoriented, Prince tries to make sense of the chaos around him. Speaks quickly, time pressing against. Who is your king? He asks. They laugh. You don't see Aku, one replies. Aku sees you. The prince looks up and sees Aku's image on screens, on signs, on truck, everywhere. It's suffocating. The boys sense his shock and lead him to a nearby bar where he can catch his breath. Inside, he's surrounded by creatures, unlike anything he's seen before. As he scans the room, one of the patrons glares back. The prince bows and offers a polite apology, but his courtesy is ignored. The alien attack. With calm and precision, Jack defends himself, using only the force he needs. But others join the fight. Across the bar, 3 dog-like archaeologists sit watching in silence. They've searched for warriors, found none, until now. After the brawl, they approach the prince. They've seen what he can do. They offer him an alliance. He has it, but listen, then he nods. They introduce themselves. Sir Dreyfus Alexander, Sir Angus McDuffie, Sir Colin Bartholomew Montgomery Rothschild III. They tell him of Aku's reign, a rule that stretches for millennia across galaxies, built on fear and domination. The prince listens, trying to understand, and then, quietly, he says, "Where I come from, dogs only bark." The archaeologist free. He's from the past, one whispers. And now, the prince understands. It's not where I am, he said. It's when I am. The archaeologists beg for his help. Their friends, enslaved in the crystal mine. If Jack frees them, they can return to their research and uncover the truth Aku fears most. Jack agrees. As they step outside, he finally says the word.
Jack! Jack was out!
Jack!
Yo, Jack! Jack was...
Jack!
They call me Jack, but Shadows still listen. One of Aku's agents has heard everything. The message reaches the Shogun of Sorrow. Aku hears the name, and a storm brews in his voice. Who dares to challenge me? And when he sees the one who defies him, he does not hesitate. He will pay for what I have suffered. Jack and his new companions arrive at the crystal mine, but their time is short. The enemy is already there, and the battle is near. Let's continue right where we left off, in episode 2. As the insect drone army rushes toward them at full speed, Jack and the archaeologist team begin preparing and planning for the invasion that will take place the next day. While Jack writes down his ideas on a piece of paper, the archaeologists listen carefully. They start setting traps, while Jack searches for anything that can be used as a weapon. He discovers that the gems Aku forced the archaeologists to mine can actually be used as weapons. He crafts arrows and spears out of them. Meanwhile, Jack trains a local animal to use as a mount. The archaeologists don't stay idle either. They forge a special armor for Jack. Soon, all preparations are complete. Jack, in all his glory, waits for dawn. As the sun begins to rise, the insect drones get even closer. Jack charges from cover to the front line. He begins facing the first wave. He fires arrows at the traps, activating them one by one. Catapults rain down on the drone army. He strikes flintstones with his arrows. Fuel barrels explode, taking out many drones. Jack disables even more, then charges in, spear in hand. Before falling from his mount, he cuts down wave after wave with his sword. Surrounded on all sides, Jack keeps fighting. His armor breaks apart. Now unarmored, he launches himself into the enemy rank. He cuts, he spins, he rips through the mechanical swarm. Using his tactical mind, he lures the drones into the third trap zone, collapsing giant stone pillars on top of them. Then, he pulls the swarm toward Flamethrower, crafted from old spaceships, and sets them ablaze. Still outnumbered, he draws the enemy toward a pit, filled with gem-tipped spears. Many are destroyed, but it's not enough. As a last resort, Jack draws his legendary sword. The insect drones strike. Jack tears off the top of his outfit. He lets out a battle cry, and charges in. Black machine oil covers his body, but his fury burns bright. Jack unleashes his legendary fighting style. The drones hesitate, then begin to retreat. Jack shouts, "No! Can't escape from me!" And one by one, he destroys every last one of them. After the legendary battle, Jack stands tall, sword in hand, his banner waving over the defeated enemy. The archaeologists are finally free. They offer to travel with him, but Jack refuses. To correct Aku's wrongs, he must return to the path. He must find a way, and this is his journey. Meanwhile, Aku, watching through the drones, finally says his name, Jack. He vows to destroy him and promises to choose the time and the place. And that is how the first 3 classic episodes come to an end. Now, let's continue to explore Samurai Jack's story in the chapters to come. Let's set aside the usual episodes for a moment and take a closer look at one of the most unforgettable chapters in Jack's journey. It begins in a quiet forest. Nature hums gently. Birds chirp in the background. The calm doesn't last long. A mighty army of robot Vikings, led by their commanding chief, marches forward with confidence. They make their way through the tree until a tall tower rises in front of them. At the chief's signal, charge! They charge. Then, in an instant, the sky darkens with arrows. Hundreds rain down from the top of the tower, covering the battlefield like a black storm. The Viking army is overwhelmed and quickly defeated. As darkness falls, 3 silent archers appear atop the tower. Later, the Viking chief recalls this story. He alone survived. It wasn't about treasure, he insists. That tower hides King Osric's well, place of legend, where any wish might come true. While he speaks, a sailor in the background shouts, "Clean the deck!" Jack overhears the tale and walks up to the chief. "Is it true?" he asks. With a serious nod, the chief points to a distant island. He confirms it's real, but warns Jack. Only 3 archers guard the tower, and each one is stronger than an army. For a samurai trying to return home, that's no reason to turn back. Jack sets off without delay. He reaches the snow-covered island. Jack pushes forward, and soon finds broken pieces of armor scattered in the snow, the remains of the Viking warrior. He takes 1 step. An arrow strikes his Gita sandal. Another step. 3 more arrows. "Nice reflexes, Jack." He leaps backward, as more arrows pierce the ground where he stood. Looking up, he spots 3 shadowy figures atop the tower. The wind tugs at his kimono, and another arrow hits. Before he can react, 4 more arrows pin him to a tree. For a moment, he's stuck. Then, another arrow comes. Jack blocks it with his sword in a single swift motion. He breaks free and hides behind a tree. He pauses. The sun is bright. His sword might reflect the light. Maybe he can blind the archer. He tries, but it fails. He ducks back into cover. Jack realizes the truth. The archers are blind. Beneath a waterfall, Jack meditates. He remembers his training. Battles fought with a blind. To defeat, he must become like them. He binds his eye. Now, he lists feel, the wind, the water, the animal, forest itself. And when he's ready, he moves. Jack charges toward the tower, blindfolded. Arrows fly. He dodges them all. He circles around the base, leaps high into the air, and lands between the 3 archers. They fire at once. Jack senses their move. The arrows miss and strike the archers instead. Their armor sparks, and their bodies retreat into the well. From within, human forms rise. The first words they speak are filled with disbelief and gratitude. Jack has broken their curse. He nods with calm and explains that he came to make a wish. They allow it, but warn him, every wish comes with a cost. Long ago, they sought to become great warriors. The well granted their wish, but took their sight and their mind. Until Jack came, they were trapped. Jack looks at the well. His voice is steady. "You'll never harm anyone again. I wish for your end." He thrusts his sword into the well. Crumble. The curse is broken, and Jack walks away as the freed warriors call out behind him, honoring his name. From one unforgettable episode to another, now we dive into a truly psychological battle. The episode opens in a shady bar filled with aliens. It's clear from the start. This place is home to dangerous types, including bounty hunters. Jack enters quietly. He orders hot water and takes a seat, with his usual calm presence. Before he can even take a sip, a bounty hunter approaches. Holding up a wanted poster, he announces, Jack has a bounty on his head, 2 Googleplex. More hunters reveal themselves, one by one. Jack doesn't want to fight. Calmly, he keeps pouring his water. But when they strike, he finishes them all in seconds and returns to sipping his tea. Trouble follows him outside. Another hunter attacks, damaging his hat. Jack deals with him, effortless. Then come others, a mechanical monkey, a massive bear, a giant dividing centipede, a robotic elephant. Jack defeats them all. Peace keeps slipping further away. Meanwhile, Aku watches from afar. He's furious. Is there no one who can defeat Jack? The thought gives him a wicked idea. Jack, tired and angry, stands in the forest. He shouts, "Who else wants some?" Finally, silent. He tries to walk away, but his sandal strap breaks. That is the final straw. Furious, he throws the sandal at a glowing wanted sign on a tree. The tablet spark, short circuit. Dark energy flows through the air, touching the sandal. From Aku's magic and Jack's raid, Mad Jack is born. He looks just like Jack, but his kimono is black. His eyes burn red with fury. Mad Jack says, "I am the son of your hatred, born from your weakness, and I've come to destroy you." They clash. clash. Blade against blade, fury against focus. They are equal. Neither backs down. The battle grows, louder, hotter. Sparks ignite the tree. The forest burns. Both warriors begin to break down. Their faces, their movements, almost identical. Then, their blades lock, and Jack sees his reflection. His eyes are just like Mad Jack. That's when he understands. Mad Jack is him. He lowers his sword and breathes. The fire dies. Speak slowly, calmly. You've lost. The fight is over. My anger is gone. And so are you. Mad Jack screams, charges one last time. But Jack doesn't flint. He absorbs the dark, and Mad Jack fades into silence. Jack stares into the void. I know you're watching me, he says. These tricks, they're starting to make me angry. Jack walks across a windy field. The sounds of nature, haunting and beautiful, fill the air. As the wind chills his skin, a shiver runs down his spine. Then, a voice calls out, "Come." Jack stops. He tightens his grip, focuses, and keeps walking. Again, the voice. "Who's there?" No reply, only birds and wind. He draws his sword. "Show yourself." Silent. "Coward," he shouts and runs toward the sound. He reaches a scorched field, lifts a handful of ash. A dark spirit has cursed this land. Something about it feels familiar. The voice calls again. Jack steps forward, walking through ruin, past fallen warriors and ancient ships. Structures like Viking vessels rise around him. He stares, surprised. Soon, he arrives at a mountain. The voice echoes again. He climbs, reaches a cave, enters, traps trigger, instantly. But Jack moves with precision, with grace. He dodges them all. Still deeper, the voice keeps calling. Jack hesitates. This is a trap. Then, the ceiling closes in. He runs. Darts fly. He grabs old shield, deflects the attack, slips, falls, catches himself on a ledge. Narrow wall, scorching steam, jagged rock, long drop. He survives them all. He re-enters the mountain. Lava pours from above, trapped between fire and stone. He jumps, stone to stone, across a lava river. And then, welcome to your doom, deep voice growls. A giant molt stands before him, hammer in hand. Jack asks, "Why do you lure warriors here?" The monster answers, "Fight." Strikes, Jack dodges, counters. His blade wounds the monster. Creature kneels. At last, a warrior worth fighting. Jack sheaths sword. "This is pointless," says. "I won't fight in a dishonorable duel." The monster pleads. He's waited 1,000 years. He forms a sword from lava. Jack doesn't move. "If I wanted to, I could end it." He kneels. "Please," the monster begs. "Make it real." "Why?" Jack asks. "Freedom," the monster says. Jack opens his eyes. He was once a man, trapped in this cursed form. He shows Jack carving, etched into stone. A wife, 2 sons, a loyal dog, a Norse kingdom. Then came the dark moon, the eclipse, the curse. Beast attacked, destroyed his army, didn't kill him. Worse, imprisoned him in Chris. Aku moved him here. He became immortal, a prisoner, until now. Only a worthy warrior could end it all. "You are that warrior," said. "My fate is yours." Jack stands, draws his sword. They clash, fierce. The ground shakes. Jack falters, then rises again, strikes and wins. "It's over, Aku. The curse is broken." The monster laughs. His true body returned. He is free. But now, mortal, he begins to age. Jack rushes to him, offers his sword, with honor, with respect. The warrior closes his eye. Light breaks through the sky. 2 Valkyries descend, golden armor gleaming. They carry the warrior away. Jack watches, surprised, saddened. But then, he sees the warrior smile. Later, Jack carves the tale into a monolith of stone. His story, his battle pose, his freedom, etched in memory. The episode ends with a final tribute to the warrior and his eternal brothers in arms. Let's now dive into one of the most iconic episodes of Season 2. Reflecting on the evil he has unleashed upon the universe, Aku contemplates the enemies he has defeated, and the one he has not, Jack. Aku acknowledges Jack's persistence, and designs a plan to destroy him once and for all. He summons one of his most loyal servants from the depths of the underworld, Dimongo, a ghostly creature cloaked in blue flame. Dimongo has never failed Aku. He appears reverent, eager, awaiting his command. Aku calls him his most powerful weapon and sends him to steal Jack's very soul. Meanwhile, Jack wanders across a rugged, stony landscape. Suddenly, Dimongo appears behind him. Jack, calm and composed, warns him, "Back away." But Dimongo grins. He's here for Jack, sent by Aku. He hurls a skull. It transforms into a towering titan. The titan attacks. Jack moves fast, outmaneuvers him, and lures the giant beneath a boulder. The traps spring. The battle ends. Dimongo laughs. He absorbs the titan's soul and prepares for more. He spins violently. Laugh. More skull. More warrior. Now a knight. A tiger man. A Naginata wielding wielding samurai, and a four-armed beast. Jack recognizes them. They once fought Aku, Demongo sneers. Now they fight for him. And soon, so will you. The warriors charge. Jack defends. He defeats them, all of them. But they are not gone. Not truly. Demongo holds their soul. Without them, Jack says, Demongo is nothing. Demongo laughs. He doesn't care. He only wants Jack's soul. He leaps to the canyon rim, throws the same skull, same warrior. Again, they're not real? Jack asks. No, Demongo replies. They are soul. I can summon them again and again. You can't win. Attack! Jack fights once more, defeats them once more, but each soul returns, and again and again. Cycle repeat. Demongo is relentless. So is Jack, a barrage of skulls. Jack retreats deeper into the canyon. He hides, breathes, but is discovered by a creature. He defeats, but more follow. The battle intensifies. Wave after wave of enemies. Jack's fighting, Demongo summoning. Both warriors are tiring, but only Jack has never known defeat. Then sees truth. Demongo's power lies within the soul. If Jack can free them, he can win. He defeats the Tiger Warrior once more and clings to his soul. They vanish into Demongo. Inside, Jack sees a strange chamber. Hundreds of warriors, each trapped in a circle of blue flame, silent, waiting. Jack raises his voice. You are free. He slices through the flame, one by one. Each soul bursts from Demongo's body. A streak of light into the sky. Demongo collapses, weakened, powerless. The warriors surround him. Jack walks away into the sunset. Meanwhile, Aku summons Demongo. He returns, trapped, inside a glass skull. He begs for mercy. Aku lifts a hand. With a flick of his fingers, Demongo is no more. Thus ends another chapter in the legend Samurai Jack. Jack walks across a lonely landscape. While he moves forward, someone watches from afar. Aku. He wonders aloud, why hasn't Jack died yet? Jack reaches a fork in the road. He tosses a stick in the air, letting fate decide. But Aku, hidden nearby, interferes with the stick's fall. He makes sure it leads Jack down a path toward danger. Jack enters a misty valley. In the fog, he sees a child. He calls out, but it's just a totem. He senses something is wrong. Strange whispers echo. He tries to leave, but the tombstones shift and trap him inside. The dead begin to rise. Zombie. Jack draws his sword, fights them, one after another, but they keep coming. He takes off his upper robe and keeps fighting. Aku revives the fallen. Jack begins to lose hope. A witch appeared. She casts dark magic. Jack blocks it, but she steals his sword and runs. He gives chase, but Aku steps in. Aku now holds the sword. I'll destroy you before I destroy this. Aku transforms and attacks. Jack runs. Laser-like eyes fire behind him. He finds an old sword from a fallen enemy. He strikes back. Aku turns into a scorpion, then a dragon, then a mantis, and finally, a shadow with massive tentacles. Jack hides. Aku finds him, slams him to the ground. He raises Jack's sword for the final blow. Jack closes his eye. He whispers an apology to his father. The blade falls, but Jack is unharmed. Stunned, Aku tries again. Still nothing. Jack grabs the sword. This blade cannot harm the innocent. He strikes. Aku cries out. Jack cuts. Aku escapes as a rat. The sun rises above the graveyard. Jack sheathes his sword and walks away. The legend continues. Here it is, the episode. The one that haunted your childhood dream. The one that made you sleep with the lights on and never quite left your memory. Are you still afraid? Under a full moon, Jack walks through a quiet forest. A small sound startles him. The wind brushes his kimono and he listens closely to the whispers of the night. He notices a little girl crying and approaches to help, but the child runs, leaving behind her toy. Jack follows and finds a crumbling, broken house standing alone. Determined to return the toy, he walks toward the house. The door creaks shut behind him. Still, Jack climbs the stairs without hesitation. As he nears a door, a single moth catches his eye. Following it, he sees the silhouette of a woman near a fire. He reaches for the door, but a swarm of moths bursts out, startling him. When he opens the door, the room is empty. No woman, no fire, only silence. Around him, objects flicker with strange vision. He lights a candle and begins to explore. The house is filthy, rotting, abandoned. He touches a model ship, and more visions flood his mind. Jack is shaken. He continues until he finds the little girl. She's crying. Jack asks her questions and gently offers to help her leave. But the doors and windows are gone. No matter which room they enter, there is no escape. Tired and cold, they decide to rest. Later, Jack wakes up. The girl is missing. He hears music and follows. A warm room greets him. The girl sits with her family, the same people from his vision. They invite Jack to join them. He hesitates.
Please,
He sips tea as the father introduces each family member. The conversation turns strained. When Jack asks what happened to the house, the mother whispers, "A terrible storm." The father turns to his son. "Isn't that right, Toby?" But the boy doesn't answer. His eyes roll back. His mouth foam. The father sweat. The others grow pale. Jack glances at the little girl, her face full of fear. Then all at once, the family change. Eyes roll. Mouths drip. Dark spills from within them. The illusion collapses. The house is ruined again. The girl runs and hides. Family dissolves, and the darkness merges into a creature. It shows Jack how it descended, how it infected, how it consumed the family. Then it attacked. Jack is captured and thrown into a different dimension. There, he finds the family's spirits trapped, just like him. Drawing on his willpower, he calls for his sword, slices through the binding magic. Jack battles the creature in a vicious fight, and at last defeats. He wakes. The nightmare is over. He turns to the girl, ashamed. "I'm sorry, couldn't save your family."
Kuni?
Papa?
They're alive, all of them. The family embraces the girl, and Jack walks away. His legend continues. This is the last part of our series on the most legendary episodes of Samurai Jack. If you have other episodes you'd like to see, share them in the comment. Maybe they're the ones that stayed with you, or the ones you'd recommend to a friend. Let's dive in. A shadow moves between the trees, silent, focused. It enters a temple. Jack is there, meditating. The shadow strikes. Jack reacts fast. He slices it in two. Aku appears laughing. It was a test. Now we see Jack walking through a peaceful forest, but he's not alone. A ninja is watching him from the trees. Suddenly, a child runs out, chased by a robot lobster. Jack steps in, destroys the machine. The boy says more attacked his village. Jack decides to help, unaware that the ninja is following. At the village, robots are everywhere. Jack fights them off. A huge one arrived. Jack beats that too. The villagers celebrate, but one woman is crying. Jack follows her gaze. The child ran toward the tower. He rushes there. Inside, he finds the boy, tied up. As Jack moves closer, he sees something in the boy's eyes. The ninja is hiding nearby. It attacks. Jack dodges. He retreats to higher ground. He realizes the ninja uses dark, but Jack was trained in the light. He takes off his kimono and puts on his white side. The two fight, shadow versus light. As the sun sets, shadows grow. The ninja gains the upper hand. Jack stays in a small spot of sunlight. He waits, listens a tiny sound. He strikes. The light flashes off his sword. The ninja is hit. The fight is over. The child hugs Jack. As the sun goes down, our story closes. The legend of Jack still lives.
Watch out.